Reverend Dr. David Clark.
Mr. Chair, I rise to speak to the amendment that's been forwarded by Dr. Kennedy Graham. I think it's a thoroughly sensible amendment and brings the legislation into line with the need to start a process of carbon budgeting, of actually working toward our climate change goals. It specifies very clearly that is where we intend to move, and currently the government doesn't have that explicit link in its own legislation. So this, Mr. Chair, seems like a very sensible way forward, and I want to thank Mr. Graham for making the amendment. I think it is very helpful, Dr. Graham. It is very helpful to this House. And of course, we on this side of the House have long advocated for an independent climate commission, which would establish such a carbon budgeting process, which would shift us on a path to achieving significant emissions reductions, which is what we all agree needs to happen. Now, the rhetoric on that side of the House is about achieving emissions reductions targets, but there is no plan. There is no way to get there. There is no intention expressed in the legislation to have a budgeting process, to actually align the spoken intention with any action whatsoever. And so that is why I think Dr. Graham has done us all a service in putting that down in very simple terms that the government, I hope, can agree with. Because if the government really is wanting to prove that it's true to its word, then it will have no objection to this legislation. I cannot see how they could object to this amendment that Dr. Kennedy Graham has put forward if they are true to their word. If they mean to meet the targets, they will sign up to this amendment. So I'm very interested to see whether the Minister rises to her feet, seizing the moment of opportunity to speak in favour of this simple amendment, because then she will be saying what we've said is credible. We understand that this is a way of getting there, and of course it leaves us the discretion to set out the carbon budgets and the targets ourselves. It leaves the government the freedom, of course, to do that in the way it sees most meaningful, but it says actually we intend to back our words with some actions. So that is why, Mr. Chair, I wish to speak in favour of Dr. Graham's amendment.
Chairman.